household or be able to lead your family, do you feel like you have to wait till you have a family in order for you to start showing sort of leadership skills, or is it something that you can prepare towards?
I don't think you have to wait till you have a family to show leadership skills or to work on your leadership skills.
And I mean, being able to lead a family.
Yeah. No, I think that comes from, again, just that tutelage of the Spirit or tutelage of from God. So as you continually in your day to day are following God and are learning to hear from Him, are learning to respond to hearing from Him, things like that. Those are the training processes that you go through, and that's what sets you up to be a leader when family comes. But I don't think you specifically have to try and work on your leadership skills in preparation for marriage, or work on it when you are in marriage, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so you've spoken a lot about your lady.
Oh, no.
Hi to the special lady. But you've spoken a lot about her. How did you know how did you make that choice? I'm sure there are a lot of young men talking to other young women, and you're thinking, well, how do I know which one of them is the one for me? They all speak in tongues. They all appear holy. They don't message past 1 a.m. I'm sorry. Yeah, but how did you know that she was the one for you?
I'll go back to Abraham. Because before Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, he had gone through a myriad of things. The first thing was leave your family, and then he moved down the road, and then it's like leave your family, so he takes Sarah, and then he takes Lot, who turned out to be a lot of trouble.
A lot of trouble. I like that.
I had to steal that one.
Did you steal that from somewhere?
I stole that from either Chuck Missler or Joseph Prince, one of them.
Copyright.
He took Lot, which was not what he was supposed to do, So then that leads to
a lot of trouble.
And then he has the whole Sarah thing. Oh, you're going to give birth. Okay, cool. Sarah doesn't believe it, so Sarah's like, go and sleep with my handmaid.
Yeah.
Abraham obviously didn't believe enough to say, no, it's you, Sarah. He also went to sleep with Hagar, Ishmael comes along, it's like, no, it's not Ishmael.
Not Ishmael.
Send Ishmael away, Well, actually, that's after Isaac came. But he'd gone through all these processes of hearing from God. And if you look at it, it actually starts out relatively small. Leave your father's home. Okay, we're going to move out anyway.
Yeah.
It started there. And then it progressed to take your son and go and kill him. But God didn't start there.
Okay.
He started with something small. So before I have come to a point to knowing that this woman is my...
Yeah. She's your...
I should have been dealing with God.
Yeah.
From way back. And know what his voice is. And that's how I see God work. He builds you up.
Yeah.
So if you've been dealing with him, if you've been listening to his voice, and you start to recognize his voice, you start to know what his voice sounds like. When you do come across this woman and you're asking God, you know what his voice sounds like. And it's easier for that voice to say yes or no.
So do you then feel like God chooses your wife for you?
So I'm going to go back to first principle.
Okay.
In the sense of first relationship, Adam and Eve. Adam had nothing to do with the selection of Eve.
Did he not?
Eve was brought to him, presented to him as his wife.
No, was she?
She was presented to him as his helpmeet, or made for him as a helpmeet. Now, this is where I think maybe there's debate as to whether or not he agreed to it, which could very well be the case. But the fact of the matter was, God didn't bring him a selection
of women. That's true.
And say select from. He brought him.
Evelyn.
And we can imagine if God brings something, under what circumstances do I know better than God? Does that make sense? Under what circumstances will God bring something lesser first for me to then say, God, no, I think this is not the one. This is not your best work.
Yeah.
Go
back
you know,
and work
try
on it.
and then he'll bring something better.
Yeah.
You know, so does God choose for us? Now, that was first principle. That was before sin had been found in, you know, in man, or before man fell. So I think that's how God intended it to be. But there's grace now, and situations are different. There are more women than there are men, you know. So now, does God choose who He wants you to be with? I still think He does. I still think he's involved, and I think if both of us are following God, we will find each other in God.
That's right.
The problem is not all of us are following God. So there's grace, and God is doing the work, and God is gracious, and His grace is sufficient. Does that answer the question?
That answers the question. So to any young person out there who's thinking, okay, I'm single now, what am I supposed to be doing in my singleness in preparation towards marriage? What advice do you have for them?
I think every season has a purpose. And I think you're single now, fine. What does God want you to do in this season? There's things in this season that you can do that you might not be able to do when you're married. I think the most important thing and the bottom line for all of this is seek God's face. Seek God's voice. Hear God's voice. Work on hearing God's voice. In your singleness, in your married life, in your death, hear God's voice. I'm talking about death a lot, which is kind of scary, but hear God's voice.
We're going to need to do some fasting and prayer after this interview, just to make sure that there ain't no death.
Death is just a doorway. Like, we need to
okay, back to singleness, please.
I am really on a different level. The cranberry juice is getting me. Seek God's voice. Seek God's voice in your singleness. I think that's training grounds.
Yeah.
You know, like literally seek God's voice, and God will use you for things in your singleness. You know, you're not just gonna sit down and then marinate.
Marinate like a chicken.
You know, like seek God.
Yeah.
And He will bring you in His time to that next level, I think.
In the beginning of the interview, you were so excited
Was that
to
an interview?
a little bit of question time.
Right.
You were so excited. I mean, your face lit up. I honestly saw a different Peter when you started to talk about, you know, how you're looking forward to getting married.
Yeah.
So then, when we, the single young people, when we speak to people like yourself who are just, you know, about to get married, we feel like we're missing out on something. We feel like marriage is the end goal. It's like the trophy. What would you say to us in terms of if we have that mentality?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record.
But seek God first.
Seek God first. Like, marriage is not the trophy, and marriage
Yeah.
is not the end goal. And if you come for marriage, yeah, you get married. But if you come for God, you get married and a whole lot more.
That's right.
Or you won't get married, you still get a whole lot more.
Yeah.
You know, it's not marriage is, it's something that God obviously instituted.
Yeah.
But if God wants to bring you there, then He'll bring you there. He didn't take Paul there, you know. So it's not the end all trophy. The end all trophy is God, you know. And if you're seeking God, then whatever He brings you to, you will delight in, because God has nothing but good plans for us.
Fantastic. Now again, in the beginning of the interview, you spoke about the fact that you're a poet, you're a protagonist, you're a photographer, you're a picture photographer.
Yeah.
Every P in the every good P.
You said every P.
Let's take a minute. I need a minute to marinate this. Wow, Peter. But you spoke about the fact that you're involved in so many different things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to go in the path of doing all these different things? Is it because you had extra time as a single person, or
It's just different passions. Like, for me, I believe in pursuing passion.
okay?
And whatever passion God has given you, you pursue. God gave me a passion for poetry, I pursue it. God gave me a passion for martial arts, I pursue it. He gave me a passion for photography, I pursue it. Under His leading, because it's a lot, and sometimes it's hard to try and schedule everything.
Yeah.
So it's under God's leading, doing all of these things, and He gives me the strength and the ability to do it. So it's just pursuing passions that I actually enjoy because God has designed me to enjoy them.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about your passions, because there are a lot of young people out there who feel like, I don't know what to do, I don't have anything that I'm kind of interested in. So what would you say to them? Because you've got your hands in a few different pots. So what would you say to those young people out there was wondering, well, I don't know if I have any passion, or I have this passion, but how do I go about, pursuing it? Oh, I'm too scared.
Wow, it's a difficult one. Again, because with poetry, when I found out I liked writing poems, it was still a matter of, even in the process of writing poems or trying to find out about poetry, letting God lead you, and He leads you to the right people. And I found other poets that inspire me and that can teach me, and through that we find other things. And so it's still all God leading you and then taking you to places that you need to be. Now, you might not even know what your passions are. Keep following God and see what He takes you to. Why is it that you always find yourself, behind the camera, or you always find yourself
talking too much, and I ended up here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, do those things, do those things, and do it in God's presence, because that's where He brings people to find you out, or that's where He trains you and then takes you out, to go and then do it elsewhere. So I think in the end, it really just comes back to following God. It comes back to seeking God in everything.
So Peter, I know we've grilled you for
I thought I was going to join you to answer other people's questions, but cool.
Well, I changed the plan. But you mentioned the fact that, of course, you've been talking a lot about the fact that you're involved in a lot of different things. You've spoken about your passions. So to the young person out there who is perhaps involved in, let's say, 3 or 4 different activities and struggling to manage their time, what advice can you give them? What can you say to them?
Okay, so again, it comes down to hearing from God and following God, because the way I see it, the entirety of the universe was created in 6 days. If God can do that with 6 days, He can leave me to use my 24 hours to do something significant.
That's good.
And I think, if you're doing loads of things and you're doing loads of things for God, now it's hard. It's definitely hard.
Yeah.
But I think I heard Joseph Fynn speak about this, and he's like, you can't. It's sometimes good to have a schedule, but sometimes it's not good, because you try and regiment things, and it's even if you're going to build a schedule, let God help you in building it. And I sincerely believe in God helping you with even the small things, the seemingly insignificant things. I think God is concerned with and desires to help you with that. He desires to be a personal God. Those are part of it. But also, what's God putting on your heart in this moment? In this moment, am I thinking, oh, I might need to go and then take those pictures, or I need to go and work on my photography? Or in this moment, am I thinking, I need to go and write this poem? Or in this moment, I think I need to call this person? Like, what is God put on your heart in that moment? And living our lives in moment by moment. God, what am I supposed to do in this moment? Not just in this season. Not just, this is your year of breakthrough. This is your year of financial breakthrough.
I feel so much shade. I feel like I'm in the Bahamas right now. The shade is real. But we get the point.
Yes. But what's this moment about? And what does God want you to do with this moment? And I think that's how He kind of navigates it, because God is going to then lead you moment by moment, dealing with everything. And when you're not even sure, you're like, okay, so this moment, what do I need to do? Silence. Pin drop. Nothing. Do something. Obviously don't do something obviously wrong, but do something. And I believe God will help you anyway. God will come and take control anyway. Even when you're not sure, God will help you and will take control.
Okay. Before I let you go, what do you have to say to our viewers? Do you have anything that you want to just say to anyone watching?
I think I'd say, I don't know which camera to look into. Alright.
Yeah.
I think we live lives, or we are to live lives surrendered to God. And I think you watching this, or you participating online in whatever way you do, is another avenue, just one of the avenues that God could be teaching you to surrender to Him. So you listen to this. What's God placed on your heart right now? What's stirring in you as you're listening to it? Go and do that. And as you do that in surrender to God. And watch Him bring glory through you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. So I think one thing I've learnt from this talk with Peter, I won't say interview, talk with Peter, is the importance of really getting to know God and having a true relationship with Him, where every moment, every single second, you're just talking to Him and you're trying to find out what we doing now, what we doing tomorrow, and also just enjoying that fellowship with Him. So that's one thing I've learned. So thank you so much for joining us here, Peter. And I hope you've learned something. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation, and hopefully we'll have more of this. So if you have any questions, feel free to write it down below and we'll check it out. And feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share. And until next time, I'm Angela, and I was here with Peter Fynn, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. God bless you. Peace out. Stay down.